Hello, 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 everybody. Have you missed us since E3? Though I guess you guys got to see a bunch of Ellie hanging out. Hey, what's up, everybody? Good to see you. Jared's here, Mr. Mike DePlatter, and Ellie Knapp.
Hi.
What's up? So, instead of taking a long time explaining what we're going to do, let's take a moment. If you guys recognize the island of Nirn, you can see, off in the distance, a fortress. Now, we're not going to go that way today. We're actually going to go in a completely different direction because today we are going to talk about Karnan. And, well, let's start up with the Karnan-ness, shall we? Bring it up on the map and let's listen to the first little bit of, I guess, narration to hear.
Yeah, so this is actually one of the story missions that's available when we arrive in sort of the second act. And we start to open up the world, meet and introduce some new characters.
We must go to the forest of
and some people got to get... Oops,
something
talking.
calls me.
Not all calls should be answered, Talion.
Sorry, Celebrimbor.
Okay, there we go.
And yeah, some people actually got to get their hands on this and actually play it at E3, which was really fun as well. So it's the mission that introduces one of our new characters. We've also got another story mission over the left, which was one of the Eltariel ones.
Ooh.
But the thing we're really excited about with introducing Karnan is a couple of things. One, that it's this new character, and it's really, she's a representation of one of the big themes that we see in Tolkien. So if you think of whether it's Tom Bombadil as this spirit of nature that they encounter on their way to Rivendell, or their old Treebeard plays, who's so fundamental in Lord of the Rings, or Bjorn and his role. So these different spirits of nature that are in opposition to the forces of evil, but are also always generally neutral. They're not taking one side or the other. But for us, we're thinking, what would that force of nature and that spirit of nature look like if it was trapped within Mordor, within the land of shadow, within this kind of darker and more evil location? And that's what we really wanted to explore in this character. So
that's super exciting.
Sort of a Mordor Tom Bombadil is probably the closest analogy.
I like it. Now, before we start everything, I see a lot of requests for subtitles. Are subtitles in now? Like, can we, if we put on subtitles, will they work in the cinematics?
Yes.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah? Do you want me to pull it away for a second so they just see us, or?
I'll just take a second.
Okay. Cool. So, subtitles, we'll put those on for you guys. I see you're asking those questions. Cocaine juice? That's a question. Yeah, so you intrigue me. Oh, interesting.
Should work.
It's not a question, it was completely different stuff. I just loved the name. Alright, so we put on subtitles, they should work now. And let's go ahead and start. Violent nature. Strange music draws you to the forest of Nirn. It is time to answer its call. Which is, as we just heard from Celebrimbor a second ago, doesn't want you to answer its call. So stop calling nature. Stop calling nature.
Put nature to voicemail.
Block nature. Subtitles working.
What creature haunts this forest?
Oh, Karnan is no creature. She is nature itself.
She calls us.
Talion, we must move with great caution. Andy! And me!
And another spirit of nature that was a little bit of an influence.
Finish the job!
Influence in here. So it's really important to us to have these different tones and this variation.
Have some mercy, Ranger. Don't leave me like this.
What has happened here?
Dominate him, and you will have the truth.
Cut me free, Ranger. I have loot. She's picking us off, one by one.
That beasts come 100 strong.
Get out here and show yourself.
Pit to peak, enslaved are rivers and trees.
No.
I take it this is the work of Karnan.
This is the forest of Karnan, and she will protect it with the full power of nature.
Like there's a comment right when you were about to blow up his head, Ellie, where he's like, no, he has loot!
By death as much as life.
The two are bound together. That is Karnan.
She's actually in control of all the elements of nature through this
What are the
forest.
orcs doing here?
They are doing Sauron's work.
All the elements.
So the creatures.
You have no idea what you walked into. You'll never make it out of here alive. Or did. Whatever you are. What is she? The cannibals? The ghouls? She's all of it.
Feed, you will feed 1,000 mouths.
Why do these beasts not attack us?
They hear her song. They are part of her as she is part of them. Yet they will defend.
Man, Karnan's lines when she's in those bits, some of them my favorite voice acting.
Us.
No. She's drawing us in.
We were really lucky with just having some fantastic actors
This
just throughout the whole
Karnan has
game.
been
Cox
busy.
was coming.
Where are
I do believe we have a little bit of time before we hit the next person. So if you were saying that she has control in the elements of this entire forest.
Yes, so we can go through, it's inhabited by the Caragors that we can see there, and they're not going to attack us unless we attack them.
Right.
But they will turn on the orcs and the Ologs. So she's really, basically this area of Mordor is using the power of nature to hold back the forces of Sauron.
Oh, that's
But
awesome.
it's dangerous for us as well.
Right. Hey, Ellie. There's a little bit of polish that's really fun with that root that was like making the archway behind us. You want to demonstrate that? Yeah, do that real quick. It's just a fun little, like, oh, you can do that you showed me yesterday. So I wanted to demonstrate that it's like just little polish like that. So you can just go under it. Like it's not something that you have to jump over. It's an item that you can slip through. We got a mic volume increase request. Up you go.
I just love this forest as well, just the variety of different environments we can have now.
If we lose talk, we'll fight our way out and then settle our differences. In here we're just food. Come on! I found it! The tree! She's the tree!
Spirit of Karnan is tree and beast. Fang and claw, root and spear.
Well, that wasn't there before.
I love that moment.
Yeah, so that's now exposed the real heart of this forest.
Right.
Of Karnan.
Moving trees.
Changed and unlike this fleshling. Where is your rot? Your buddings? Do you grow? Do you wither? No. No. A lifeless beast are you, but no. For you die and die. Not lifeless, but deathless. A flesh-haunted thing.
Talion, we cannot defeat her.
What would you suggest I do?
Throw down your sword and kneel.
I will not kneel to this thing.
One of the coolest effects, seeing the leaves come together like that.
Oh, yeah.
Deathless one.
Man.
Bring you to rot and ruin will beasts of Mordor.
Ooh. We have a
fire. That was effective.
Yeah. Do we have a fire bow on right now?
I guess I do.
I guess we do.
That is just the right thing to bring to a fight against nature.
That's really cool to see how like the element also added to taking out this guy. I hadn't even thought of trying it.
And the fire starting to spread through this foliage as well.
Oh yeah. Careful where you step, Ellie.
But she's not finished, so she can take the form of all these different creatures within the forest. And actually, what we're just introducing at this point in the game is, as well as Karnan, we have elemental Graug. So we have all these different and diverse environments. So we have the lava fields in Gorgoroth, and we have the forests here, and we have the snow up in Seregost. And the kind of elite Graugs and giants in each of those regions have their own elemental attacks. So they can be breathing fire or throwing lava or ice breath. So it's just another kind of level up to the monsters and creatures you'll be fighting, and of course dominating and riding around and using against Sauron.
There's a picture of a Graug breathing fire in one of our screenshots we released, so now is a good opportunity for meeting another one. Oh, here it comes. Ooh.
And she's able to actually combine the effects of fire and the sort of poison in her attacks as well.
I believe we showed it too with E3, so now we have not just Talion being able to do it, but other creatures. Oh, here it comes. Oh, ow.
Reopen it. Now we bleed.
She's down.
Ellie, your people want to let you know that you're doing amazing.
Always appreciate it.
When a Tinder date goes wrong, that's the mission apparently.
Be careful. Tinder in Mordor.
Mordor.
Got him. Right in the eye.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It's the only place to shoot.
I love the Karnan Drake. This is the one that's in our statue in the Mithril edition as well.
Right.
One does not reason with the wind.
Oh, if you can hit that fireball. Oh!
It's tough.
It is tough. I remember,
Nice.
it's gonna take a couple more headshots for sure.
We all die together.
Oh, you're getting it.
Fire to forest, fire to trees. Your ash will feed.
So I see a comment, someone was just like, isn't that a spoiler when we mentioned about the statue? It's like, actually, the story trailer showed the Karnan Drakes flying into the Balrog as well.
Yeah, so I mean, it is a little spoiler in the sense that she is going to ultimately ally with us and help us. So it's kind of our homage to Bjorn in The Hobbit. Like, just think that was so amazing the way they met him. We've got this creature that's transforming, you know, there, and then ultimately at the Battle of Five Armies, it's this incredible ally.
Right. It's cool to see the effect of poison and fire at the same time with shaking the screen. Is
not as cool when it's hitting you like that.
well, it looks cool.
Yeah.
Woo! She got him. 5 headshots. Oh, into the building. Yes, Mordor filled with skyscrapers.
Well, it seems this Karnan isn't as powerful.
I love that every time.
Unleashed to rise and rise again. In a hole go you.
What have we unleashed?
The cry of the forests. The scream of the rivers.
Great spirit of Karnan.
Cease all cry and clamor. You have woken Torgorot, cracked and creviced until now. I opened the Dark Lord. he stokes its flames. Forges cage like kindling for shattering fire to come. Burn you, burn we, a fire for all it will be.
What have we awoken?
Undead! Ringmaker, your forge sings. A crack across the land. Fire woken by a cold metal ring.
We hear your call. Allow us to help.
Yes, you will. You. A deathless beast. You. A flesh-haunted thing.
We will find Tor Goroth.
Go now. Your Balrog waits. He rises in doom shadow. Fight till death and rise again, you will fight. Soon and soon. Death will defeat undead.
Okay, so there's gonna be a little bit more talking right after we do the mission complete. Do you want to, like, it basically is them talking about the last conversation. Should we move on to that as well?
Sure.
Cool.
It seems this ring has woken more than Sauron.
Yes, we must go to Golgoroth and deal with this Balrog.
Boom. There we go.
Cool.
All right, go ahead. You can go ahead and hit pause. Let me bring it back to all of us again. What's up, everybody? How cool is that, huh? All right, so we got to let Ellie out real quick, but Mike and I are going to hang out here for a little bit longer. So you're going to see the little video break for a second as we help Ellie physically leave the room. So it's Mike, you can scoot out of the way for just a second. And perfect. But we're here. You can hear us talk. Mike and I are still mic'd at the moment, so you know that we have yet to disappear fully. There you go, Ellie. Maybe move this out of the way so you can open the door and you should be good. Go for it, and I'll get the light. Oh, you got it. Thank you. All right. So that should be perfect, and we can take our seats again. Let's actually scoot Ellie's chair off a little bit so that we can fit a little bit better. And careful with your coffee.
I got it. It's all good.
Okay, and go ahead, scoot over a little bit to your right, so that we can have. Oh, that was my water. I'm glad I warned you of your coffee, but spilt my water.
Oh no.
Perfect. We're coming back on now. So do this to make it a little bit more close for us both. Hello. All right, so we got a little bit of time for questions. It is now 2:20, and so let's do about 10 minutes of questions or so, and then if there's something really cool pops up, we can answer that, and we'll go from there. So okay, we're now looking over at the chat, and I see Mike, could you just get a little bit more to your right too?
Certainly.
We're slightly off balance.
About there. Am I good?
Right
Am I
there.
good?
I think that's good.
I
Yeah.
can still reach you.
Yeah, you can scoot forward a little bit. Oh no! If only I had an iron will. Anyway, let's see. Questions. We're gonna first of all, we're gonna talk about Karnan. So if there's questions off of Karnan, we're gonna jump over those. You were talking a little bit about the lore of Karnan. Was there anything else you wanted to add in?
Yeah, I was actually. I mean, obviously, I've seen this mission quite a lot, but just I think. What's so exciting is the way she embodies all of the different themes that we've got going on in the game. So Talion, effectively, they've got the Ring of Power. You're able to defy death. They're bound together. You're cursed to be resurrected every time that you die. So although you're the hero of this story, you're also embodying death and life and undeath.
Right.
And Tolkien, when he described Lord of the Rings and he said, what's it about? As he said, it's a story about death and the search for deathlessness, which is hardly more than to say it is a story written by man. So, the purpose of so much that we get into these stories or we think about things is we're all thinking about and ultimately confronting our own mortality. So, Talion really represents one thing, and then her as nature.
Right.
and this idea of life and renewal
Right.
is representing something completely different, but also really dangerous in its own way. So I really like the role that she plays in the story and what she
Yeah.
represents. And I think so much of our story as well is about you're in Mordor, you're behind enemy lines in Mordor in this place that's really dark and monstrous. But from their point of view, you're the monster.
Right.
You know, you're this just horrendous Michael Myers, you know, Jason Voorhees, relentless serial killer that's just stalking Mordor.
Oh, man.
And that idea of sort of being something that's terrifying to these monsters, or
Right.
being the monster to the monsters, she also represents that very much as well. Like, as far as, you know, when those orcs are going into that forest, it's kind of like Predator. You know, when Arnie and those guys are heading in and they're in the
Right.
forest, and like, what is it that's hunting us? So,
But the Predator was not of the forest. So this was
that's
the
true.
forest
That's
itself.
true. The forest
on the
itself
back, yeah.
and nature itself. So it's very, I just think, aligned with how we sort of think about or approach Lord of the Rings. And yeah, she really is kind of our Tom Bombadil, our Treebeard, our
Right,
Beorn, our, you know, Old Man Willow. So that idea, it always comes up so much in Tolkien, and to have a version in our game that's authentic to that, but
Right.
still authentic to our world and our story, I think she plays a really important part. Plus, you get to work with her to, you know, battle against a Balrog, which is pretty kick-ass as well.
That's going to be sweet. So I saw a question. I missed the name, but I got the question, which was, what exactly is Karnan?
I'm going to slightly
Okay.
dodge that answer, but I'm going to dodge it in an authentic way, in the same way
Like
as
it.
what exactly is Tom Bombadil.
Right.
You know, and again, so Tolkien's answer on what is Tom Bombadil is it's really important for a fantasy universe to have mysteries.
Right.
If it doesn't have mysteries, then what's the point? You know, where's the fantasy
Right.
within that, or where's the wonder within that? So he said, you know, it's really important for this world to have mysteries, and Tom Bombadil
Right.
is one. And Karnan, as I say, is kind of our Tom Bombadil. So she is a spirit of nature. She could be a Maiir, you know. She, I don't think she's an Entwife, but I think she probably knows what happened to them.
Oh.
And I think
go, yeah.
you know, she'd definitely be able to speak Entish, but she's definitely a representation of the spirit of nature and what would happen to that if it was in somewhere as oppressed by darkness and industry and horror as Mordor is.
Right.
I think it's interesting that Celebrimbor clearly knows who she is.
And is afraid of her.
Yeah,
Like,
so
that's
she's
such a cool moment.
She's obviously been there for longer than he has,
Right.
which is in itself, you know, millennia. So she's been there a long time.
Right. You actually answered another question, which was how long had Karnan been around?
Yeah.
Which will lead me to another one from Bob321, or something. It was Derpy Bob321, which is, does Karnan have the power just in the Grove, or is it power that extends outside as well?
It's predominantly within that forest, and that forest is getting sort of threatened from outside as the
Right.
orcs are starting to cut it down and burn it. Again, you know, we wanted that idea of Saruman and the Uruk-hai and them chopping down the forest and burning that to make that. But she herself, now that the forging of the new ring
Right.
has awakened Targaroth, has awakened this Balrog within Mordor, and that's also awakened her, because they're kind of each other's nemesis, basically. They're the ultimate enemies. So I think Karnan and Targaroth have certainly met and encountered each other before and have a history, and that could go back a long way. Like, the thing that
Right.
defines him, if you look at him as a Balrog, where he is armored up, he's not as like, you know, a long time ago, First Age, he was probably a general among Balrogs. Like, he was a leader and
Right.
a warrior among those, back when there were armies of
Right.
Balrogs. So he's not as kind of lost and hidden as Durin's Bane is within Moria. So I think their history goes, you know, right back a long way to that. And so the awakening of the Balrog and the awakening of her goes together. I forgot where that question started. Oh, yes. So point being, now that she has awakened and now she is able to take these different forms of these different creatures, she can project that beyond the Forest of Karnan, and she can help you as well. So
Oh, that's wicked. That's such a long connection of lore, and I love the idea of like the historical wars that occurred way before Talion and Celebrimbor.
I loved you know, what the concept of. We actually worked with Weta as well on the design of that Balrog, and so just armoring him up and just thinking, you know, this is someone who actually remembers the earliest ages of Middle Earth and fought alongside Morgoth and has been there as long as Sauron has, and you know, even actually could be a threat to Sauron because Sauron doesn't have the One Ring at this time either. So these kind of wild cards, and again, that's like what Bjorn or Tom Bombadil or Treebeard is. You know, Treebeard when they meet him, it's, I don't know which side I'm on. I'm on my own side and on the side of nature. So these guys are kind of wild cards in this war that's going on. Smaug is a little bit the same as well. He's sort of a wild card. If he did ally with Sauron, that could have been a big deal, but I think it's just, you know, something that kind of changes things up.
Oh, what fun. All right, I like that. Okay, so let's grab another question that we had from here. I saw one that was, will we be interacting with some of these Karnan beasts, like within the forest or outside? Like, is it something where we can go and dominate the Karnan Caragor, ride it out into the world?
We have, within the story mission of her helping you out against the Balrog, that actually absolutely does happen, and we get to work with her. It's a little bit like, I guess, the eagles in Lord of the Rings. She's sort of so powerful when you can use her that she'd be a little bit game breaking if we let you use her wherever.
The whole, like, why not just fly into Mordor?
Exactly. Why not just Karnan your way through everything? She's definitely OP.
I like that. Let's see. So if I, just as a quick, because I've seen a couple of requests in this regard, we haven't announced two Karnan's voice actresses.
Yep.
Right? Okay, so we won't answer that yet.
Just doing one. Oh, really? Haven't we not?
Oh, I haven't. I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
If you're,
all right.
I don't think
we'll
we
say
have.
later. Oh, yeah. All right.
It's
we'll check with the authorities when
we'll
we
make
say
sure.
that.
Yeah.
I think I said it earlier. I said her first name.
Oh, well.
During our earlier stream.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not sure on that one then. But on that note, some of the best voice acting that I've just in our game, that creepy, like, reverberation.
Yep.
It's
well, that's I think that whole mission and the sort of the horror influence on that mission, just to, you know, we want to have so much variety and everything from comedy to action to these epic battles to horror, and I think the audio team just have done an amazing job on the forest and on that mission, and I think it's really fun for Monolith to be able to kind of call on that heritage of horror games. So, you know, Brian and Nathan and those guys who've worked on Condemned and worked on Fear and kind of tap into Monolith's kind of horror roots are really fun.
That's wicked fun. It's I'm gonna do so I see a couple more questions that aren't about Karnan and that kind of thing. Just so you guys are aware, we're talking about that. If you have those kind of questions though that are outside about Karnan, subreddits, check the Discord, check the forums. I'll be there answering questions. There'll be some of other people answering questions as well, just so you're aware that I see your questions, but we're talking about Karnan at the moment. So let's see. I have let's do one or two more questions because it's been about a little bit under half an hour.
Yep.
And so we can grab a couple more. Let's see. Oh, I think that's a bit more of a story question, so I'm going to skip over that one. But this is a fun question. A lot of people are asking about your t-shirts.
Oh, this one. This is Celebrimbor, and you probably can't read it. It's got a little Suffer Me Now.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, which I just love it.
I can't see that on the screen right
Actually, the thing I really like about this, because he's obviously it's Celebrimbor, but he definitely gets mistaken for the Night King from Game of Thrones as well. And my personal fan theory, which is obviously not true, is that the Night King actually is Celebrimbor, but, you know, like 2,000 years later.
I mean, he found a new way to move to another book
series.
Exactly,
yeah. He just jumped across to Westeros, raised up that army, and he's looking for vengeance.
Exactly. Just the One Ring and the New Ring have this interdimensional jumping too, because of course, why not? Let's see. Baron Rotwick, I want to defeat Karnan. Nice. Let's see. More questions as we're going through here. Oh, this is a fun one, and I think this is a little related. So it's specific. It's on the elemental Graug and that we saw, which was like we had mentioned it a little bit, but what other types of elemental Graugs are there?
Yeah, so I think the one there's the fire Graug, which we saw in that. He can fling lava, he can breathe fire. He's awesome. Just spread chaos. And then in Seregost in the mountains we have the ice Graug. Actually, I think he was in one of the earlier trailers as well.
In the open world trailer.
Yeah,
you got a grunt gets hit in the face by a big giant ice ball.
By a massive snowball.
Yeah.
So he's pretty fun.
Oh yeah.
And then we have the wretched Graug, who's here in the forest as well, and he's got like the big sack and is like spewing poison and toxin. We actually met him before in Nirn. He was in the Lord of the Beasts DLC.
Lord of the Hunt.
Yeah, the Lord of the Hunt.
We've
as well.
actually had that question, which is would characters return from that? So
yeah,
there we go.
I actually like that. The other thing that kind of returned that we started doing in Lord of the Hunt, but that we've carried over, is we added the Karagaths. So we gave like the stealth abilities when you're riding the Karagors. You could creep around and use stealth and stealth kill while mounted. And so that's something we've kept for all the Karagors now in the new game. So.
Now it's not just a Karagath. Now it's the Karagors all have those same abilities.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Let's see. So on time wise, I think time for one real big question.
Let's
and
do
then
it. Will there be kittens? No.
That knocks off the stream. Never ask the question about the kittens. That knocks the stream off. Oh man. And then let's see. I'm thinking. As a final thing before we hit that final question.
Oh wow, that's a great question.
Oh,
no, it's
great
a quick
question.
One. Sorry, mate. Nighter's 1426 Carnan in Latin is place of flesh, but she's nature made flesh. Is she omnipresent? So yes, she is present throughout the forest. It's funny actually, really sensitive to using Latin as a reference in this because Tolkien, very much draws his language from Anglo-Saxon, and so Latin never quite sounds right. And it wasn't where that came from. It was actually more from the Celtic horned gods, Carnun or what's the pronunciation? But anyway, the horned god of Celtic mythology was a reference for her. There's this amazing John Howe picture that he did of that, and of course John Howe was one of our primary concept artists who also worked on the movies and so on.
Ooh.
Sorry, I can't help myself. I got to check the name of the Celtic nature god, who was definitely a bit of an inspiration.
You Google,
but because Talion, which we didn't know at the time because we were drawing it from Talion, which is in Tolkien, but it means revenge in Latin. It's like eye for an eye.
What a perfect name for
I know, and yet it shouldn't be because we shouldn't use Latin. So, Cernunnos, which is a bit of a derivation for Carnan, is the conventional name given in Celtic studies to depictions of the horned god. So, a nature spirit influence as well. But good question. Thank you.
Cool. So that turned out to be a lot bigger than I expected.
All right.
So I guess real quick question, which was where was this took place? This was in Nurnen.
Yep.
This was that one, and it's I'm going to take one more quick question and I'll ferret you the last one, and then we'll pop on off. Which is Deathly Howl, which is can we go back to the forest to interact with the beast and forest itself after we fight Carnan?
Oh yeah, there's multiple missions that take place in the forest, and we there's a couple of stories that we get to explore with her because she's a great character. Not only the Balrog, but that actually branches off into another entire side story that comes back into the forest. And of course, the orcs are relentlessly attempting to destroy this forest, so being part of fighting back against that as well.
Oh, that's great. And then I guess we'll grab one more big one. Let's see. Related specifically to because a couple of your questions I'm also skipping over because we've answered them earlier. So when we're done, you can go roll back real quick in between our Q&A session to be able to pick it up. Let's see. Ooh, this is one I had too, so I kind of liked it. So from Unlimited Panda 5, Carnan in relation to the Machine Tribe.
Oh yeah, interesting. So the Machine Tribe are, out of all of our orc tribes, the highest level representation of that theme in Tolkien of industrialization and the destruction of nature. And when they're controlling the region, we have more smokestacks, more factories, and so on. And so as we see the orcs trying to, invade and impinge on this forest and take it down, they're definitely the nemesis of Carnan. She would have a special hatred for them.
And I guess they would have a special hatred for her.
Yes, indeed.
Response.
Yep.
Man, that's awesome. Okay, so with that, everybody, thank you for coming by.
Thank you.
For all these
It's fun.
extra questions that are coming through, go ahead and mods, go ahead and point them towards Discord. Give them a forum link, community.wbgames.com or wb.communitygames.com. I'm wiping that back and forth, but go ahead and pop those into the chat so people can click them and that kind of. Also on the subreddit, I'm there answering questions as well because a lot of these questions I can see and I can respond to. And with
lots of these ones that we couldn't answer are going to get answered soon.
Ooh, a lot of there you go. There's a lot of questions you guys have put in here. We can eventually talk to.
Yep.
Yes. So with that was fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
All right.
See you, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.